Well, hello again everybody. Jake back here with you for part 2 of our paint guide, our Aztec painting for the refit here for Gary over at MaskDesign. Earlier today I went through and I did the port side of the ventral walls here, and I wanted to do that to kind of get a feel for the masks to see how they would work. I have not yet had a chance to go through and do the freehand iridescent, but I'll do that here a little bit later. And so I've got that side done and sealed, and we're going to be going through now and doing the starboard side, which would be this side. Now if you notice, let me zoom in a little bit here. There's a lot of light going on here, so let me see if I can't back this up. Yeah. Let's see if I can't. I don't know if you can see this clearly or not, but let me put it in just a little more. But alright, right there you can see here we have our normal. Now for those of you who have done this before, you know what I'm talking about the brick and mortar pattern. But if you have not done, if this is your first time, well, what I'm talking about the brick and mortar pattern is when you do these masks, you will see the we call the lines that are in between these little solid panels here, the mortar, and then the brick. And so what you do on this, and I'll take you through that here in just a few minutes, is I'll go through and I've already gone and pre-pulled all my lines, my vertical lines in between each brick, so to speak, and weeded them out. Now, if you're doing this, there's two different ways you can do this. You can put the solid piece on all the way, with everything included on it, or you can do what I did, whichever one makes you feel more comfortable. But I've done this several times, so I'm pretty used to doing this a certain way. So, but what I did is I weeded all the lines out, the mortar pattern out from in between these pieces here, and that way I don't have to worry about gouging out my paint or anything else like that. And Gary mentions in the video on when he puts this on, there's little patterns here throughout the side panel here. He mentions you might want to pre-remove those before you put them before you put the masks on the ship. Now, let me tell you something here, folks. Don't let the way these pages fool you. They got me at first, because one side is to the way that you're thinking it is, and it's not. So it's backwards. But if you have this, pay attention to each side. Now, it caught me off guard too, because the port side only has like the light gold and the dark gold panels here, or the dark gold mortar patterns. But on the starboard side, I noticed that it had dark gold mortar patterns with a few dark gold bricks in there, along with the the little patterns in there. So that's what we're going to do, is get this installed, paint it, and like I was making mention too, that when you put these on, the way you get these dark gold patterns on here is you spray a heavier coat of iridescent gold in these areas here, the lines in between, and then these darker panels, and that gives that look of the the darker panels in there mixed in and everything else like that. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. Now, this is what I've done here, is I've taken my pieces, and I've weeded out the little lines and in between and everything, and you can see there that I've gone through and weeded out those little patterns, those little boxes in there. And then what we'll do is we'll go through and mount it on the top side of this. And let me back out just a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. We're going to start in one corner of it and touch it, and then just kind of work our way across. Now, this is going to be kind of tricky, guys, so it doesn't want to lay down right because it's on a curve, and you kind of see right there where it bubbles. But if you kind of work it at one end and work your way back, it'll eventually lay down. Now, one of the reasons why I like weeding my mortar pattern, so to speak, is before I put it on, is because it helps lay the masks down a whole lot better, because you can, you know, pick them up and move them just a little bit, just to kind of make, you know, to help you with everything. So what I've done is I've gone through beforehand and I've marked with my Sharpie marker. I've gone through and pre-marked the ones that are going to be with a single dot. It'll be the light gold, and then the ones with the 2 dots are going to be my dark gold. And I didn't get a chance to go up here. I'm just going to kind of play it by ear to see, you know, how, because in the manual it doesn't show this, so it could just be kind of left to the imagination up here. So I'll just kind of do like every other one up here and see how we do on that. But alright, so let's get this. I've got my clear transfer tape on this. We'll pull the backing off, and yes, I fixed my tweezers, which helps greatly, guys. And one other thing that Gary made mention that I probably need to mention to you guys is the ones that are seasoned, that know how to do this and can regulate the temperatures and everything else like this on these, can use a heat gun. And if you feel comfortable doing it, you know, using a heat gun, great. If not, I would suggest, you know, if you're not comfortable with, you know, if you're just starting out in this and you're, you know, new to this, I would suggest using a hair dryer, simply for the fact that it's less heat, and there's a chance that, you know, there's a less likely of a chance that you're going to damage the paint or the masks or the model. So, but always use it on a low heat, and remember, guys, to keep it moving. So, but you can see here what I'm doing is I'm using just a little bit of pressure to kind of walk these masks back, you know, this backing off, because if you pull it too fast, there's a chance that you can pull one of the masks off with it. But if it does, it's okay. Don't panic with it, guys. You know, at least you know, leave it on there, and when you put it on the ship, you'll know exactly where it goes. So, all right. So let me move my towel and get the ship closer into frame here, and let me zoom in just a little bit more and show you what I'm going to be doing. Like I said, I'm going to be starting up in this corner right here and kind of working my way to the back. So I'll make sure I don't have any debris on here. And like I said the other day, guys, try not to touch the masks on this too much, simply for the fact that if you touch them down and they're not exactly the way you need it to be, it will cause problems. So, alright, we got that down there. Now see, it looks like we're off just a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll take some extra masking that I have and add just a little bit here. Now you can see right here we have the issue where it's not wanting to lay down at, but that's because it's on a curve. So if I try to pick this up off the sheet here, it's going to pull my masks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently, I'm going to go ahead and remove my transfer tape. And let me tell you something, guys, too. These model kits are not all exactly the same. Some of them are warped. I've had a couple of them that were already warped. And they, you know, the kits, you know, you have to do a lot of puttying and rescribing your lines and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it can, you know, lead to lines that are not correct and all that kind of stuff that are made up with the masking. So Just remember, guys, don't panic if something like that happens. It's just plastic. You can putty over it, repaint it, re-glue it, whatever. But don't let it get you down if it is, you know, if it is off. It can be fixed, guys. There's plenty of videos out there to show how to fix things like that. So, you know, take your time, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. That's the best way to learn, guys, if you're just out there doing this, starting out. So, alright, and as you can see, I'm just lightly rolling my fingers, kind of walking it back. And then now that we're up here at this corner, I'm going to turn it and walk it up. See, I had a mask lift off, and you can see here it started sliding up, but we'll fix that. So if a mask starts coming off, just roll it back and walk it back down. And so now we have that off, and you can see we're off just a little bit here, but that's okay. I can just put a piece of tape right there and we'll be okay. Now we'll go back through here and readjust these. Alright, that one's there. We'll just pull this one back just a little bit and try to... The good thing about this is, guys, is you can kind of get an eye, you know, a visual of how these masks will go down. And see, we had that little gap right here, but by the time we fix this, that gap will pretty much be gone away. And like I said, these are the only ones that Gary sends you. So in the set. So just, if you have to peel them off gently. Don't rip them off, because you can warp the masks, and there's a chance that you'll, you know, ruin them, or they'll distort and you won't be able to put them back down. See, I've still got one too close there, so I got to pull this one back off. But don't worry, guys. Like I said, these masks are pretty stout. You can, if you're careful with them, they'll be just fine. And always remember, guys, try not to gouge your paint when doing this. Alright, I will fix this one here. Try to get this centered. Alright, now we're going to go over to this one and move it down further. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera, get these fixed, and get our gold loaded up in the gun, and I'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, here we are back. Now I've got all this fixed. I got my tape in place now. I've gotten all these relayed down where they need to be. And so now what we're going to do is we're getting ready to spray our dark gold. Now, if you remember, I told you that there's going to be a few little boxes on this side that are going to be a little darker than the other. They're going to match the dark gold that goes on this. So what we're going to do is, I know this is going to be sitting like this, so we're gonna start at the back and work our way forward with this. We're going to do our dark gold. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like 6 pieces that are going to be dark gold, which, like I said, I already have them marked. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove these. Now, you don't have to save these, guys, because these are already going to be pretty dark now. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. And then we have this one that's going to be dark. And then we have this one down here. Alright, let me zoom you in. Let me zoom in and fix you where you need to be to where you can see. Alright. And we're going to have another dark one here. And then it looks like we have one right here. So, those are going to be our dark ones. Now, on the rest of these, I haven't decided yet on which ones I want to do, you know, because they're going to be off on either side. So we got our gold loaded up in our gun, do a test spray, and now this is where you're going to want to do the heavy gold at. So here we go. And like I said, always pay attention to your masks. That way you can see if you're getting good coverage or not. Alright, let's check that and see. We'll go just a little darker, I think. Alright, so let's give that a quick dry. And like I said, if you're new to this, I would suggest using a hair dryer on low temp to dry this, so that way until you get used to doing your colors, you know, until you get used to using the temperature. Now that's a good deal. Now so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and start pulling off our masks that are going to be, we're going to go through and start pulling off our masks that are going to be the light gold. So it looks like we're going to start off at the back and work our way to the front. Now it looks like we're going to have, after this one here, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, well, we're not going to count that. So we'll start from this one here, and we're going to go 2 rows, and then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are a light gold. So, oh, I got one right here that needs to come off. And we need to spray that real quick. Alright, I'll dry that real quick. Alright, so now right above that one, this is where we're going to start doing the solid light gold. So we're going to pull this one off. Right above the one that we just did. And then we'll have 4 of them. So like I said, we already have these marked. So that's probably one thing that you might want to do is before you get this on, before you put your masks on, is pre-label what you want done. Pre-mark them with the colors. Like I said, I usually do 1 dot for blue, you know, 1 dot for the first color, whether it be gold, green, red, 2 dots for the second color, 3 dots for the third, and then usually you don't have to have a dot for the third one, for the fourth color, but if you do it before, that way you know exactly where it is. You kind of get an idea of where you want to lay those color patterns. Alright, so there, and now we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward quite a few spots, and you can see right there we have all these right here that are single dots. So we're going to go through there and just pull these off. And at the end we'll we'll remove all these masks and show you both sides in the tape and show you everything that's been done so far. Alright, go down here and grab these. Alright, now since there's nothing really shown on the paint guide, you can kind of leave that to your imagination. So we're going to have a solid white one here, and I'm going to do a solid white one there, so I'm going to just kind of pull these off and then just kind of do a you know, a different pattern in between. Okay, yeah, I like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a light spray over everything. I'm going to check my gold in my gun, and we'll start it. You know, we'll go ahead and respray all this. We'll do it a lighter coat, and as you can see, you can already see the lines in this. So here we go. I turn my pressure down just a little bit. Alright, let me see that. Alright, maybe just a little bit more. Right there in the front, so that looks good. So now we'll give this a quick dry. We'll look at this, and that looks good. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead, we'll let this dry. What I'm going to do is go ahead, clean up my airbrush. We're going to let this dry for a few seconds more, and we'll come back and pull the masks off, and then we'll pull the tape off, and you know, I'll pull the masks off. We'll seal it with our clear coat, and then at the end we'll come back and show you the end result for everything. And I may go ahead and do the 4 colors there. So we'll be back shortly, guys. Stay tuned. Okay guys, here we are back. Now I've gotten all the tape pulled off. I didn't do this right now. This is still the color still drying on here, the clear coat. I did notice a couple of things on here. The gold on this side wasn't as dark as I wanted it to, so I'll have to go back through off camera and fix that, but that'll be an easy fix. Because I've got, thanks to my good buddy Cameron, I've got some extra pieces of just different size lines and everything here. You can see it's small. I got a little mess going on, but it goes down to very tiny lines. So if you want to get in touch with, if you want some of this stuff extra for your masks, I would get in touch with Cameron over at Cameron's Decals and Such, or it's Cameron Randall Lewis Sr. on Facebook, and you can message him to see if he can't set you up with some masks, you know, some of those line masks. Believe me, they come in handy. So what I'll have to do though is I'll have to go back through and put some of these little tiny masks on, and go back through and just add some more color to them to kind of bring that gold out a little bit more. But let me turn my let me turn different light on, but let me raise you up here just a little bit and back you out just a little bit more to show you how beautiful it turned out, guys. So this is the one that I did a little earlier. Well, this is not going to work. This is like I thought it was going to. Let me zoom back in. But there you go. You can see it now. You can see it has the really pretty gold pattern there on that brick and mortar, and how well it ties in to the belly side of this. Like I said, it's done. I just got to go back through and darken up those gold spots a little bit, and fix some here where the masks was just off a little bit. But by the time I'm done with this, you'll never know what was what and how it happened. What was going on there. So. But I've got it sealed up. We're going to let this dry for a good hour or so, maybe even overnight, and go back in the morning and just kind of refinish those lines there. So, but the next video set we'll go through and do our sidewalls. And pretty much like I did today, I'll go through and do one side or the other, and then that way before we go through the steps and everything on it, I can go through and show you exactly what it'll look like, the expectations are, and everything else like that. So this is where it starts getting a little more difficult than what it is here. And then the closer you get to the nacelles, guys, the harder it's going to be, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult on these. These are pretty simple and straightforward on all this. But the pylons and everything they'll be pretty easy, because it's just pretty much one sheet. Now I guess Gary gives you if you've used the Orbital Dry Dock, you have 3 different sets of masks that go on here. You do your gold or your blue first, then you do your gold and the green, and in between each one you peel a different one off. Well, Gary, what I like about this is Gary, you just put on one full masking sheet, and you just pick out the different ones, and then you have a dark, the gray vinyl, kind of like what we had up here on the top, and go back and you just replace it. So that'll be a whole lot easier. He also sends stuff, masks to go in here, the blowout panels and everything. If you want to go ahead and paint those your color and then lay your masks over that, you can, go right ahead. There's no problems doing that. A lot of people do. Me, I wait until after I get the masking done, because that way when you gloss coat it, you can put your you can paint after you've done your gloss coat and everything, because you want those to kind of be a dull or a matte finish on here, and you don't want them to be brightening up, too standoffish. So you want those to be kind of a dull thing. Same thing here on the front leading edge of the pylons. These are going to be painted the robin egg blue, I guess you'd say. And so I'm not going to worry about masking those off when I mask this off, but I will walk you through, and show you about it. Simply for the fact that it's not necessary to put all that masking on the edge and everything else right here. I would wait to paint those blowout panels until after you get this done. That way you can just mask off real easily. But I will show you the masks that he gives you for this, and if you want to do it that way, so be it. But alright guys, well that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Like I said, the next time you see me, I will have this done. I'll probably do this in the morning, as well as finish up, fix that one side. Like I said, it was it just I didn't get enough on there as I thought I did. So but that won't take very long, and like I said, by the time I'm through, you'll never know. Anyway guys, that'll be it for episode 2. Like I said, the next time we'll be starting the sidewalls and go from there. And that'll be quite lengthy process on these. I will probably do the same thing as I did here on the belly. Do a few, do one color on it, then go off camera, switch out colors, all that, instead of going through it at the whole thing, because that'll you know, I don't want to bore you with all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty much the same process throughout the whole thing. So, but anyway, all right, guys. Well, that'll be it. You know, for this episode, for episode 2. For episode 3, we'll be doing the sidewalls, and then we'll move on to the pylons, and then the neck. So, you know, looking forward to finish doing this. And if you have any questions about this, guys, I will I forgot to put my email address up on the end of the video for any questions you might have regarding this, or you can contact Gary and I will put his website, his email address up at MaskDesign at shaw.ca, and we'll go up from, you know, I'll have that info put up for him. So if you have any questions for him, and my email at the same time, that way we can ask, or you can reach him at Facebook. But all right, guys. Well, I'm very pleased with these masks. They've turned out very nice and very easy to work with. They don't lose their tack, and very easy process of going through. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. We'll see you for part 3, and go from there, guys. So stay safe and happy modeling, everybody.